Now we're going to look at the birth chart for Johnny Carson. He was born in Corning, Iowa, October 23rd, 1925 at 7:15 a.m. And if you were to look at the eastern horizon when he was born, you would see the constellation of Libra rising at 12 degrees and 56 minutes. This becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet that's within 5 degrees of that has some impact, positive or negative. So let's see what the functional benefic and malefic planets are for this particular Libra chart. So any sign, any multicona sign that falls in the challenging houses 6, 8, or the 12th house, which are multicona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So we see nothing, no multicona sign in the 6th, the 8th, but in the 12th, we have the multicona sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. So not only does Rahu and Ketu become functional malefic, which are functional malefic for every chart, but also Mercury becomes functional malefic. And any planet that is within 5 degrees of the ascendant has some impact. So we see it just barely, Mercury is barely within that 5 degrees, so it afflicts the house it's in and 7 houses away, the opposite house of relationships. And we'll look into this later, but he had multiple marriages, so we can see that that was definitely affecting his relationships. So Libra is a air sign, and it's movable. And usually people with Libra sign can be working with the public in the entertainment industry. He had the Tonight Show from 1962 to 1992. He was very successful in the entertainment industry, and it's all through relationships. Let's just take a look at the planets. Sun is at 6 degrees. In this first house, he has Sun, which is happens to be debilitated in this chart, and it is that makes it weak. Any planet can become weak if it's less than 5 degrees or more than 25 degrees, if it's debilitated or afflicted by conjunction or aspect by a functional malefic planet. So, but basically just because it's debilitated becomes weak. It rules the 11th house of income, friendships, fulfillment of desires, and it is in the first house of health and longevity. And Sun is represents heart. So he had a weak heart. I think he had some heart attacks and quadruple bypasses. Moon also represents heart. It's at 20 degrees, and it's ruling the house of career in the house of communications. So Moon also means working with the public. So you see that his career was through working with people in the public, through communications, the entertainment industry. And it is blessed by Jupiter. Jupiter is within 5 degrees, and Jupiter is in its own sign, the sign of Sagittarius, which makes it very powerful. And Jupiter, in this case, can represent entertainment, and it gives him children. And being conjunct Moon makes it gives good support for a Moon being successful in the entertainment industry, and it gives great success. So Jupiter is the planet of success, of good luck, good fortune. Mars rule is at 23 degrees. It rules the house of relationships, partnerships, living in abroad, comforts living abroad. It is in the house of expenses, losses, depression, detachment, separations. So Mars, again, would be affecting the house of relationships, again, multiple marriages. And a loss of great deal of money due to divorce. So Mercury, again, it's functional malefic. It rules the 12th house of losses, expenses, and separations, and depression and addictions. And it affects the respiratory, the lung parts of the body, which he had lung issues because of addiction of smoking and drinking. And it is found in this first house of longevity. So definitely has some effect there. But it did give him good speech, the ability to have persuasive speech in his talk show, in interviewing people. And Venus is ruling the first house of life purpose, and it is in Scorpio in the second house of speech and wealth and fame. So he gets fame through his speech, his sweet speech, and this also, because Venus is in Scorpio, that can bring some addiction. And also, he was a very private person. This Scorpio makes you very private and not much of personal social life, very detached. Saturn is at 22 degrees. It's ruling the house of education, children, investments, creativity, and it's in the first house within 5 degrees of Mercury. So Mercury is afflicting Saturn, and Saturn is the representative for longevity, but this is also the house of entertainment. So Saturn is exalted, so it gives this ability to be successful in entertainment, have children. But because it's afflicted by Mercury, it does have an effect on longevity and children. So his one son died in an accident at a very early age, trying to take pictures while he was driving, and he drove right off a cliff. Rahu is located in the house of career, and Rahu and Ketu, because they can cause an eclipse in the sun, they can bring some darkness to all of us at some times in our life due to transits and different things. So in his case, Johnny Carson's case, Rahu and Ketu are not close to the most effective point. So they are generally benign, except can be cause trouble in transits. Rahu gives ambition, charisma, desire. So this ambition and charisma in his career house gave him great success. And Ketu in the house of family life and happiness gave some detachment in his family. And again, he didn't have much social life at home. And so then what would we do as, let's look at his dashas. He was born in a Rahu dasha, again, giving big ambition and desire, charisma in his career. That becomes the root of the tree of life. And then in from 1962 to 92. In 62 he was in his Jupiter period, which gave him again this great success. Jupiter is in its own sign, very benefic and strong and well placed, giving good success in communications and entertainment. And then he got a divorce in during somewhere in that period, in a Mars subperiod. Mars again creating separations and for the relationship. He lost his son in I think, I can't remember what year, but it was during a Rahu subperiod. So Rahu can give and take away. And so during, then he had a heart attack in 1999, and that was during a Saturn Sun period. Sun, again, is heart, Saturn is longevity, and they were in his 6th house of health issues. And if we were to look at the transit chart at that time, at that time, which was 1999, you can see that there was quite a bit going on here. He was in that 1999, he was in his Saturn-Venus period, and so we can see that any planets that are within 5 degrees of the 12th, so Mars, and any planets that are within 5 degrees of each other. So you see Venus over Saturn. Saturn, that's a pretty close conjunction in the house of relationships. Then Sun and Mercury. So Mercury's afflicting Sun in the 6th house of health issues, and Sun is heart. Mercury's his most malefic planet, causing a lot of trouble there. Also afflicting Mars, natal Mars, and then you also see here natal Mercury being afflicted by Mars, in close conjunction with Mars. Mars is end of life, so, or death-like experiences. So quite a bit of different things going on there. And then if you were to look at his chart when he died, which was in January 23rd, 2005, you see that again, let's see here, Mercury and Venus on top of each other, Moon on top of, Mercury and Venus on top of Moon and Jupiter. And you see that Jupiter on top of Mars. K2 is afflicting 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Afflicting Saturn. Saturn is end of life, longevity. So that, and then Rahu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, also 7, 8, 9. So Rahu is at 2 degrees. And it's afflicting Saturn also, which is longevity. So quite a few things going on in those 2 charts. And he was in a Rahu-Mars period at the end of life as well. So Mars, again, representing end of life. and the last part of Rahu, which can take everything away. And so these are the main points for Johnny Carson's chart. I just wanted to say the remedies that could have been helpful to prolong his life would be strengthening his benefic planets, specifically Sun would have been helpful, as well as Saturn, Venus, Moon, Jupiter, and Mars, and doing chants and charities to transform Mercury, helping children on Wednesdays, listening to Vishnu chants on Wednesdays, avoiding green colors, and listening to Saturn chants on, Shiva chants on Mondays, helping those who cannot help themselves, listening to Ganesh chants on Thursdays, helping spiritual organizations. All of those things could have some good effect. Avoid wearing brown and black and green. So those are the remedies that could have helped prolong his life.